wrath, and hatred. These were the only things Khamûl had felt in the last 3,000 years. The wrath was ever present, born of his existence on the edge of the Wraith world, ever denied the reward of peace. He had passed over into the other centuries ago, but he was doomed to wander the earth forever, doing his master's bidding. The hatred he felt at present was directed solely at the captain who had led them on a fool's errand into the north, the upper vales of the great river. Here dwelled the accursed elves and strange men who could change their skin. Khamûl had told the captain that no dwelling of the halflings had ever been discovered along the great river, and the small settlements of those folk known of old as the Stores were long deserted. But the captain had ignored his counsel. He was determined to seek ever northward, hoping to come across the aberration, as well as the land called the Shire. And so they had ridden for days and then weeks, nigh to the eaves of the woods of the Noldor, fording the enchanted tributaries of the great river until they came in sight of the Carrack. Only then did they return south. The sun had set behind the mountains as they rode past the dark, twisted eaves of the Crow Forest. The horses walked through long, greyish grass, sending birds and animals fleeing. The captain, not knowing where to go, was in no hurry to get there. They moved through a swirling, blue-grey light towards the land of the horsemen. Over the years, Khamûl had become accustomed to the border world. His awareness interpreted the muted colours of the sunset and the blurred edges of the forest into something he could comprehend. He had forgotten what the living world looked like. In the gloom, he looked off to the east, where a dark shape, like the flame of a candle, flickered against the swimming grass. A rider was heading straight towards them. There was a surety in his demeanour. Even the rider's horse was unafraid. Most of those they had come across in the last 2 months had fled wildly before them. Here was a living human, and save for a knife at his waist, he was unarmed. The captain led the others in turning their horses towards the rider. He was cloaked, and his hood covered the top half of his ageless, disfigured face. He brought his mount to a halt as the 9 surrounded him. The horse and rider were as grey as the land, as though they had been purged from it. He looked around at the nearest of them and then addressed the captain.
"We see that your search along the river was in vain."
He smiled with disdain.
"The Pretender's son has ridden west. The tower believes he is heading to Imladris."
Khamûl sensed that the others were all thinking the same as he was. None of them relished the idea of going to Rivendell. They had tried to besiege that detestable place 16 centuries ago to no avail, and they'd had an army with them then. Why would the Pretender's son be traveling to Rivendell?
But he has been captured by the White Sorcerer. The Eye has seen Saruman's true designs. He may not yet hold the ring, but he knows where it is hidden.
The White Sorcerer, caretaker of Orthanc. Khamûl had met him a number of times in the past, and could never figure out the name. His robes were more of a sickly yellow, as though they'd been dipped in tanning liquor. The messenger again looked fearlessly around at them.
"The Grey One is there also. Ride to Isengard."
Khamûl glared at the messenger. The greenish skin, the short pommel nose and the wide upper lip. This one was nothing more than one of the savage descendants of the people Khamûl once ruled over. Some general of the eastern armies, no doubt. Well paid too, judging from his fine robes and fur-lined cloak. Khamûl felt like drawing his sword and running him through. As though sensing Khamûl's thoughts, the messenger glanced at him, then nudged his horse. They watched him ride off to the northeast towards the river and the great forest. My forest, Khamûl thought. But the gears of war were turning. He suspected he wouldn't be returning to his forest anytime soon.